The human eye is one of the most amazing gifts God gave us, yet it is an incredibly limited device. Although it is our only window to see the world, the things we end up seeing are only the things that grab our attention, narrowing our possibilities to understand the world we live in. We wake up, we start our day as any other day, but looks can be deceiving. All of us are surrounded by things we can't see. Things that are too fast, too slow, too big, too small, too obvious, too hidden, or too common. But we want to change that. Join Say in this incredible journey to uncover our eyes, open your mind, and discover the things that are right in front of us. It is our gift to you, so we can learn to appreciate everything that surrounds us, even the things we take for granted. Your life will never be the same. We live in a complicated world that revolves only around us. We can't really see what happens beyond the scope of our eyes. The bumblebee views the world through UV lights. She can see the flower she desires by markings left by other bees, to be able to gather the pollen to feed their colonies. We just see a flower and a bee searching for pollen. We have no idea how magical that whole scene is. This is just a tiny example of how our eyes only get a glimpse of what happens every instant in our world. Thank God today we have the technology to see things in slow motion. We think a raindrop falls into a lake and dissolves into the water. What we don't see is that every raindrop bounces on the surface of the water, held together by surface tension, becoming smaller with each bounce until it disappears. This happens each and every drop, independent as they fall, but together as the storm falls in unison.
While normally film runs through the average movie camera at 90 feet a minute, Edgerton's flicker box can handle 125 feet a second. In normal speed movies, a bullet shot from the muzzle of a high-powered air gun is invisible. Now Edgerton really photographs a bullet in flight. Watch it come in from the left. Here, fascinating patterns of movement. And when you recall that all the action of this bulb smashing actually took place in the fraction of a second, you realize that here is speed in movie photography, indeed.
At the other extreme of time, there are things that happen too slow for our eyes to catch. Even though we know things change with time, growth is too slow for our eyes and our brains to register. Take the growth of a beautiful flower. It starts only with a small seed and flourishes into an amazing creation. Day by day it changes, develops, and grows. Every molecule inside it evolves into something that's left in the yesterday, waiting for tomorrow. Each leaf, every petal has its place and slowly but surely grows into its full potential. All around us are a million things happening so slowly but so constantly that we forget they exist or even get our attention. The lifespan of a human being starts in a cellular level. We can't see it, but it starts to change everything around it. It develops into an embryo, and starts taking human form. For the mother, the 9 months of pregnancy seem like an eternity, but in reality, every second, a new cell, a new organ, a new system is being created. Every millisecond counts. The growth of a person is undetectable to the human eye. Not even the independent hair strand can be seen growing. Not because it ever stops, but because it happens too slow for us to see. Let's step out of this world. Literally. As the saying says, we are constantly moving. Well, we are not wrong. The world is constantly moving. As you remember from preschool, the Earth travels around the sun and rotates on its axis. But it's so big that we don't even acknowledge the vastness of the universe and its continuous movement. Inhale for a second. No, it doesn't just happen. To breathe, there are a zillion different things that have to dance together for us to be able to live. Hashem, in His amazing greatness, filled the air with oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and even methane that work precisely with our bodies to allow us to breathe. The whole respiratory system changes from person to person to accommodate their needs, and works without us having to manage it. Without our conscious effort, it keeps us alive. From our nose to our lungs and back again, being able to breathe is one of the many things we forget is essential to life and certainly take for granted. But we can't get caught in the big things because we forget that there is always something smaller than us, or something too small for us to detect. Taking a walk at the beach and the sand tickles your feet. We never think of sand as independent grains, but that's the beauty of it. Each grain of sand is a whole world we don't know. In 2017, researchers even found whole communities of assorted microbes living on the surface of single grains of sand. Something so small, yet so enormous. You want something more accessible? Think of the micro SD cards you have in your phone. It weighs 0.4 of a gram. For us, it's totally normal. But we forget that only 40 years ago, the same amount of data was stored in a 250 megabyte hard drive, weighing around 550 pounds. Something so small, yet so powerful. Sometimes we do see the things happening around us, but we assume that's the way it is. That's the way it has always been. The sun rises every morning and sets in the afternoon. The light turns on when we flick a switch. We can walk when we get out of bed in the morning. The wife goes to the supermarket and makes supper. The husband goes to work and pays the bills. But this makes us even more blind. The things that happen around us every day are precisely the things that should get more attention from us. For the sun to rise in the morning, the Earth as a whole has to turn on its axis and maintain its orbit. For us to walk every day, our brain has to be in perfect sync with our bones, organs, muscles, and nerves. For the lights to turn on, electricity has to be created. For a wife to manage a household, it requires complete dedication and the perfect memory compared to artificial intelligence devices. For a husband to manage the home finances, it requires complete organization, incredible tolerance, and the skill of a calculator. Sometimes we need to stop and acknowledge the things we say are normal, because truth is, nothing happens on its own. Which brings us to the things that are right in front of us, yet we don't really see. In every Disney movie, there are the so-called Easter eggs. In every movie, you can see pieces of other movies that, before you knew they were there, you wouldn't have ever noticed it. There are such things as the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, otherwise known as frequency illusion or recency illusion. This phenomenon occurs when the thing you've just noticed, experienced, or been told about suddenly crops up constantly. We can even bet you'll see a bee tomorrow. But don't fool yourself. It was always there. You just couldn't see it. On the other hand, our nose is the perfect example. If you think about it all day, your nose is in perfect view, but we ignore it all day. Unless we decide to see the world around us, it remains hidden from us. Unless we want to see it, it stays unseen. All the concepts that we have mentioned are universal, but in our own specific lives, there are common things that we do without even noticing. The deception of our routine tells us we have to do certain things every day because that's the way we've done it for decades. But without acknowledging that we do them out of our own free will, they become meaningless. In a couple, there's always the tech-savvy, the responsible one, the hard worker, the funny one, the shopper, the singer, the clean freak, the relaxer, or the elegant one. There are women who sew buttons and men who fix sinks. There's the one who walks the dog and the one who feeds the fish. But all of these labels are just that, labels, because in the beginning we decided to do them to lend a hand. And even though routine trapped us, they are still the things that we decided to do, not the things that define us. Because of that, we have to be thankful for everything people do around us. They do them because they want to, not because they have to. Your partner does them because he or she wants to, not because they have to. You do them because you want to, not because you have to. We sit down after a long day like every other day, but looks can be deceiving. Truth is, we can't see everything. It's not enough to rely on our eyes to see the world around us. We need to be seekers, explorers, discoverers. Sometimes we have to look around us to find the things that we are missing in order to really appreciate what we have. Appreciation is a feeling or expression of admiration, of gratitude. To be grateful for what we have, for what we see, and for what we don't see so easily, we have to work a little harder. Because Hashem created this world for us to enjoy. But there is no enjoyment if we have our eyes closed and our minds trapped in a bubble. To be truly grateful is not enough to feel it, to understand it. We have to be able to say it.
Gracias Hashem por la oportunidad de vivir. Gracias por los milagros que ocurren en mí todos los días, en mí y a mi alrededor.
Gracias por pasar tiempo con mi familia.
Gracias por ser un excelente papá.
Gracias por darme de tu tiempo.
Gracias por el café.
Gracias por ser un amigo fiel.
Gracias por escuchar cómo fue mi día.
Gracias por cuidar de mí cuando lo necesitaba.
Gracias por preocuparte por mí.
Gracias por pasar tiempo conmigo.
Gracias por hacer nuestro hogar tan bello.
Gracias por traerme flores.
Gracias por decirme cómo te sientes.
Gracias por consolarme.
Gracias por hacerme sentir que soy lo más importante en tu vida.
Gracias por ser excelente mamá.
Gracias por cuidar a los niños.
Gracias por ser tan cariñoso.
Gracias por amarme.
Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias. Y gracias por lo que nunca te he agradecido.